Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Rusty Buckets. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already and drop a like on this video. I did the one thing first. Drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference in how the video performs in the YouTube algorithm. Last video, I was very shiny because I had just gotten out of the shower and the water that was still in my hair slowly slowly dripped down onto my face. And now I might end up being pretty shiny in this episode because my thermostat is broken. It's 85 degrees outside, so that means it's 82 degrees inside my house. So I'm feeling great right now. But with that, let's ironically talk about the Miami Heat. Get it? Because Heat and the Boston Celtics. Okay, so where do we start? Because that game was a cluster F and then some. I don't want to say that word this soon into the video. It's just, I'm perplexed by this series at large. I'm perplexed by the performance of the Boston Celtics. I don't understand what is with this team. Their favorite thing to do is get in their own way. Boston's biggest opponent over the last few years has been themselves. Like, straight up, they get in their own way far more than any other team ends up beating them. And that's not to take credit away from Miami, because they obviously executed when given an opportunity. But the opportunity that they were given shouldn't have existed to begin with. Let's just jump right out of the gate and talk about Grant Williams. Ironically, on a podcast I did after game one, was like, I think Grant Williams deserves more run, because if you take a look at Boston's rotation, they're running pretty thin. Like, they were playing Peyton Pritchard just a little bit, and they got obviously Malcolm off of the bench and Robert Williams doing stuff, but there are a lot of heavy minutes for their starters, which is to be expected in the playoffs, but I think disproportionately so. Meanwhile, Miami had a little bit more depth than that, but I digress. Never mind. He shouldn't have played. While he did make some nice plays offensively, getting head-to-head with Jimmy Butler, trash-talking him on the way down the floor after hitting a shot, it was not a good idea. The classic, now that Dylan Brooks has coined it, ironically, a classic case of poking the bear. There are very few, in fact, I don't know if there's any NBA player in the league that I would say it's a worse idea to piss them off than Jimmy Butler. He has a serial killer brain, okay? If you get that guy angry, he will go at you and destroy you, and that's exactly what happened in this fourth quarter. If you were maybe not aware, I guess for some people, they actually watch these just for the sake of learning about the game. The Celtics had a pretty sizable lead. I think it was like 12-ish around the halfway mark of the fourth quarter. It looked like they were going to close this one out pretty solidly. For the majority of the game, they did look like the better team. I will say in the case of Boston, it did feel as though they were letting players get into the paint way too easily. They even gave up a freaking Duncan Robinson layup in the half court in the second half of the fourth quarter, which is just ludicrous. But like, Caleb Martin got a few easy layups. Even Jimmy Butler, of all people, got a few easy ones. But overall, Boston had this. They absolutely had this. And then Grant Williams decided to do that, and the entire momentum of the game shifted. A lot of it was due to Jimmy Butler, but I also want to give a shout out to two people from Miami who have been excellent in this series thus far, and that is Bam Adebayo and Caleb Martin. So first of all, let's talk about Bam, because as the second best player on this team, he can be really their biggest wild card, because sometimes he looks like an awesome offensive talent who can get you 25 and 10 and be an excellent defender, all while doing that. And then he can also look like he's going to score 12 points on 40% shooting and take a bunch of dumb mid-range shots. Now, he did take one or two of those dumb mid-range shots in this game, but for the most part, and for game one as well, he did a great job of attacking the paint and trying to be physical. There was even a layup in this game later, I think this was at the end of the fourth quarter, where I was like, you actually should have went for like a jump shot or a touch shot. But he was like, I'm just going to throw my body into this person. And it wasn't a foul. But then he also did that multiple times and did get fouled. And that's the real difference maker. If you Play physical, you get rewarded. It's as simple as that. So seeing Bam consistently try to be like a shooting guard in a center's body can be quite frustrating. But in this game and in game one, excellent attacking of the basket, excellent approach to his scoring at large. If he didn't get a triple-double, he nearly crossed that line in this one. His playmaking was great, of course. I feel like, if anything, one mistake that Miami has made in the past few years is underutilizing him as a playmaker, because they initially got that aspect of his game utilized where he's averaging like 4, 5, 6 assists a night. But as time has gone on, that's become less and less a part of their system. But yeah, Bam was awesome. Caleb Martin, awesome. He had 25 points off of the bench, hit a very big three-pointer late in this game, hit a lot of shots in general. And he was really excellent in game one as well. So if you get that kind of contribution from him, even semi-regularly, that's going to make a real difference. But I guess I should also shout out Gabe Vincent for hitting a super clutch shot. As much as I can give credit to Miami, like, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum did not make a field goal in the fourth quarter. The only points that Jayson Tatum scored in that fourth quarter was on free throws, and frankly, 2 of those 3 calls I thought were kind of bad calls. So bad shots, not really getting any kind of offense going. I will say, yes, Miami did double team Jayson Tatum a lot, but if you're a superstar player, you can play through that shit. I'm not going to go on the whole tangent here, but all I'm saying is, going down 0-2 on your home floor while not scoring any buckets in the fourth quarter of both of those games, just superstar things. But that's obviously not to put all the blame on him or him and Jaylen Brown. Again, it was all Grant Williams just poked the bear. That's the only way to put it. And I realize that's almost a little reductive and a simplistic way to look at the game. But frankly, Jimmy Butler almost makes the game that simple. That's one thing about him that I think makes him so effective, is he's just like, I'm going to drive, or I'm going to hit a pull at mid-range, and I'm going to be an asshole while I do it, and it's going to be relentlessly entertaining. When I was talking about the Knicks versus Heat series, I referenced multiple times that I can find the Heat to be a pretty boring team, but when Jimmy Butler is in this, I'm just going to kill now mentality, he is endlessly entertaining to watch. I also think it's worth mentioning, I don't think anyone else is thinking of this, but as a Bulls fan, I'm thinking of this. This is not the first time that Jimmy Butler has gone up 2-0 on Boston's home floor. He did it as the 8th seed. It's not the first time he did it, because he did it as the 8th seeded Chicago Bulls in 2017. They ended up losing the next 4 games. I don't think that's going to happen in the case of the Miami Heat, but just thought that was an interesting parallel. As for the series at large, as for what we can expect going forward, man, to think that Boston does any better than coming back 3-1 after these next 2 games, that's probably the most realistic best case scenario, because I feel like it's really unlikely they're going to beat Miami twice on their home floor. Going down 0-2 on your home floor to the 8th seed is just fucking unacceptable. I'm not to be that reductive and act like the Miami Heat are just an 8th seed, but the Boston Celtics were favored in this series by pretty much everybody for a reason, and then they're losing in this fashion. I did say, though, going into this series, I was like, I have Boston in 7, but man, I don't feel good betting against the Heat whatsoever. So if that goes the opposite way, I won't necessarily be surprised. But good God, did I not expect it to be Miami wins both of the first 2 games on Boston's home floor. That's ridiculous, and the Celtics should have a lot of self-reflection right now. And I was right. I can't not say it. Sorry, I was. But yeah, that is it, I think. Right? Do I have anything else to say? Am I forgetting something? I keep forgetting things that I want to say in these videos, so I'm trying to reflect to be sure. But no, I think that's it. Oh, I do want to say Jaylen Brown took a couple of dumb shots in this fourth quarter. He went up on 3 defenders in the paint when everybody else was open. But yeah, other than that, that's it. Goodbye.